The New Life Girls Home are coming to minister and share a little bit about what they're doing. So I'm just going to hand it over to you guys. And you can say, now I don't know if you know, but New Life Girls Home is here in Consicon. And they help women find their destiny in God, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm going to hand it over and you guys just take it away.
Good morning. My name is Debbie Mcclain, and I'm the Ministry and House Coordinator, Facebook Manager, Website Manager at New Life Girls Home. We are so thankful to be here. Thank you, Camilla and Travis, for inviting us here today. This is actually our last ministry for the season. We started back in the end of September, was it? Yeah. And going to Peterborough, we've been to Napanee, Kingston, way up at Vanacker, which is way up by Denby. And also we've done some churches around the area, Brighton, Trenton, and Belleville, as well as Picton. And God has brought us here today for our last presentation of Daughters of the King. I'm actually not going to say a lot because you want to hear what these ladies have to say and the songs that they're going to sing. And we just are thankful for being here, and we hope that you will be blessed by the presentation, Daughters of the King.
You unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies till all my fears are gone. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God.
Good morning. So I have actually recently graduated New Life, but I have a written word that I'd really like to share with you guys today. It was something that it really touched me and helped me to get through my walk through life. It's called Jesus Is, and it's by Clayton Jennings, but I've edited a couple of words just to make it flow for our presentation. He's more than you could ever need. He's more than the eye could see. I don't deserve his love, but he has always been there for me. You see, Jesus met me when I was at my lowest. And if you don't know Jesus, know this. He is the greatest example of generosity that this world of greed has ever seen. And when he hit the scene, he changed the scenery and met diversity with serenity. If you're looking for peace, he offers plenty. Jesus was and will forever be king. And when the angels sing, they sing of the grace that was displayed for sinners like me. I can't explain him, and I can't describe him, because if I could, he wouldn't be Jesus. Because you can't explain eternity, and you can't comprehend the galaxies. But it was the loving hands of Jesus that spun them into existence and created man, knowing he would go to the cross to pay our sentence. There was a certificate of judgment with a period after the sentence. And we were sentenced to death long before he said, "It is finished." He's a father to the orphan, a shelter for the homeless, a hiding place for the abused, and an anchor for our storms. He stormed the gates of hell and came out on top, and the power of his gospel cannot be stopped. even when the world tries, and they try a lot. He traded places with Barabbas and became a catalyst of missions across the world, covering every portion of the Atlas. If you're in need of a rest, I know of a mattress. If you don't know Jesus, your future is tragic, but he would gladly embrace tragedy so we could live in his presence of majesty. His presence is presence, and it's his presence that presents preciousness to a world of peasants. He's far from pretentious, but he still loves those who are. He's the light of the world, and he hung the stars. He brings the dead to life and delivers life to the dead. He took a crown of thorns on his head so we could lay crowns at his feet. And I can't wait until the day that I get to kiss those feet. The feet that were nailed to the cross for me and for you and for every other person around the world. He loves the world, and I love his word because his word became flesh, and in his flesh he demonstrated the word to the world. He's an example to every son and every daughter. He's a lover of black people, a lover of white people. He's a lover of the unchurched and the assemblies under the steeple. He doesn't see believers' failures, but still takes time to celebrate their faithfulness. It's the power of the Spirit that enables us and gives us boldness, even when the world labels us. And if you want to label me, then please call me a Jesus freak. And if that freaks you out, good. Because it is better to be good with God than to fight being misunderstood by a world that could never understand. So let it be understood that I don't worship man. I worship Jesus. And although he doesn't need us, he still sees us and pleads for us to run to the cross where he bled for us. His heart bleeds for us. His heart grieves for us, but still graciously grants us a pardon for our treason in a season where the world tries to explain away the works of the Spirit with human reasoning. And here's the reason why they can't. Because his Spirit is like the wind, and the wind cannot be seen. But loved is he who believes without seeing the unseen. I'm telling you today that Jesus is something. He's something more. He's something great. And if you want to meet him, you don't have to wait. He stands at the narrow path with a key to the gate, and you only have to reach out and embrace his grace. I don't care who is president. I have a king who is always present. I don't care who holds musical celebrity. The voice of the Lord will always be the sweetest melody. I don't care who owns the riches of the globe. My Jesus has more wealth in one ruby on his robe. I don't care who's the strongest or the fastest. Nothing matches the creator of the universe and his immortal, infinite status. I don't care about religious leaders who have died and stay dead. I worship the one who conquered death, and he wears a crown on his head. His name is Jesus, and I'm telling you, he is something. He was faithful yesterday, he's faithful today, and I can feel his presence whenever I pray. And when the time comes for me to fade away, I will remember the day that I heard him say, "My name is Jesus, and you are my daughter."
7 years old. The voice had already begun its work. Fat, ugly, too tall, chubby. Believed it. Use exercise to lose weight. That's just what I wanted, said the voice. And so the struggle began. Always self-conscious, afraid of drawing attention to myself, ashamed of my body, out of place, and often left out. Mirrors were my enemy. I hated them because they hated me. The voice manipulates and distorts, and the mirror is its tool, believing I don't deserve to feel beautiful. If you lose a bit more weight, people will like you, you'll like you, and I'll shut up. Okay, but it's never enough. Never. And it didn't stop with just my body. Soon I hated myself. Not only fat and ugly, but stupid, worthless, selfish, and a failure. I heard the following song when I was 16, and I cried. How I long to believe that my Heavenly Father is taken by my beauty, that I've never been more lovely in my life. Years of treatment, and still I struggle. Struggle to ignore the voice and its lies. Struggle to believe I'm lovable and loved. Struggle to see myself in my Father's eyes. I have continued to fight one day at a time, and am now learning to distinguish the Father's voice and am learning to trust Him. Healing takes time, but I'm not afraid to take that time. I know I am His masterpiece and His daughter, and am starting to believe it. I'm beginning to see myself in my Father's eyes.
Get ready to jockey the computer.
Good morning. My name is Diana, and I would like to share with you some of my journey, what has brought me to New Life, and how it has helped my walk and growth with Christ. 24 years ago, I became the first Canadian generation child born to Polish immigrant parents. I grew up in a non-practicing Catholic home where Jesus had been taught to me in school, but never demonstrated in the right way. There was a period of time that my family attended a Catholic church, but somewhere during my childhood, alcohol became the main focus of my parents' attention. Even though I had 3 siblings, I still constantly felt alone and different, like the black sheep of my family. Continuing my Catholic education into high school, the idea of God became silly to me as I dealt with extreme violence at home. I did everything I could to stay away from my family, from living with friends to staying in shelters, looking for love and fulfillment in all the wrong places. In my final year of high school, I experienced my first episode of depression, and after high school, things only got worse. I didn't care about my life, so I hung around the wrong crowd, and my only concern was about when the next time I could get drunk or high was, desperately trying to escape my painful reality. During this time, I became pregnant at age 18, and after much reasoning, I had an abortion. I continued in my careless, irresponsible lifestyle when a close friend of mine passed away from an overdose of prescription medication, which caused me to really reconsider my life choices, and I began questioning a possibility of God. Life seemed like a constant emotional roller coaster, and after a few more hospitalizations for depression and this time self-harm, suicide attempts, and eating disorders, I was diagnosed with bipolar. The past few years have been full of many ups and downs. God placed a number of Christians in my life along the way, including my brother-in-law, but still I was hesitant because the rest of my family had strong negative opinions about Jesus. I had known about New Life for a couple of years, but always found excuses as to why I couldn't go, until once again I found myself in a very dark place, and God closed all other doors for me. I finally made it on November 28, 2016, after realizing I seriously needed Jesus' help. Since my arrival, I have felt and seen God's strength and mercy working through me, pulling me out of that darkness. As it was demonstrated in the parable of the lost sheep, Jesus left the 99 to rescue me, and I now know that I have a Father, the perfect parent I always desired, who I can count on and loves me no matter what I've done. Even though it hasn't been easy, I am so happy I came because I've gained a new life, which includes a joy I have never before experienced. One of the best parts of my program has been having the privilege of singing with Debbie, something I never would have imagined to be possible. And today I would like to sing for you a song Debbie wrote called I Don't Need Anything More, because it speaks about where I've been, where I am now, and how I've learned that all things are possible with Christ helping to bring me where I'm going.
Throughout the pain,
sinking sand. I reach my arms towards heaven, and God is right there at my side. He's my refuge and my helper. In Him I will abide. And I don't need anything more. And there isn't anything stronger. I don't need anyone else to take His place. He's my strength and my Redeemer, the giver of much grace. And I don't need anything more, and there isn't anything stronger. I don't need anyone else to take His place. He's my strength and my Redeemer, the giver of much grace. He's my strength and my Redeemer, the giver of all grace.
Hi, my name is Nicole. I'm 21 years old, and I would like to share my testimony with you. I can honestly say I don't remember a lot of my childhood, but I do remember growing up in a very dysfunctional home with an alcoholic mother and an abusive father. When I was 6 or 7, my younger brother, my older sister, and I were put into foster care. When I was in foster care, I was introduced to God. During this time, I thought God was awesome, and I was excited to be a Christian, but I didn't really understand what that meant. Soon after, me and my siblings were adopted. I was 8, my brother was 4, and my sister was 11. We were adopted into a loving family who already had 4 older children of their own. My adopted family went to a Christian Reformed church and sent us 3 younger kids to a Christian elementary school, so I've always believed in God. In school, I experienced bullying, and I thought it was because I was adopted, and this continued through elementary school. When I was told by my parents I was going to a public high school, I was excited, but also sad because all my friends were going to a Christian school. I felt like an outcast because I was going to a different school. High school was going great until my problems caught up to me. I had feelings of not being loved, feeling unwanted, rejected, and not being accepted by anyone, including friends and family. I started to self-harm and get into the wrong crowd, just so I could get attention from my parents. At home, I didn't receive much attention because my older sister and younger brother both had ADHD, so they needed the more attention. To me, it felt like my parents weren't giving me attention because they didn't love me, but that wasn't the case. I started to create problems so my parents would help me. In grade 10, things just got worse. I felt like no one cared about me or heard me when I cried out for help. Later that year, I decided I was going to end my life. I was talking to one of my good friends about this, and he called the police before I could do anything. I went to the hospital, but they released me because I told them I was fine. Up to this moment, I thought I had no one, and that was until I met my new youth pastor, Tina. Tina is a very loving, compassionate, and caring person. I opened up to her a couple months later. I told her what I was dealing with, and she helped me a lot throughout the years. At this point, I was angry at God, but Tina led me back to God and showed me that God's love should be enough for me. But it wasn't. I wanted love from everyone in my family. I didn't really listen to Tina, and I went back to my destructive behaviors when I found out I had bipolar type 2. Again, I was angry at God, and that anger didn't stop for a very long time. It was going okay, and I thought I had my life in order until my grade 12 year, when I found out in October 2014 that my mom had colon cancer. I was devastated when I found this out, and again, I was angry at God. After all, if God is so powerful, why did he give my mom cancer? During this time, I fell away from God because I was so angry at him. This was just the start of my mom's battle against cancer. In April 2014, my mom was hospitalized, and I thought it was my fault because we just so happened to have a fight the previous night. Tina was helping me through this time, and she helped me realize it wasn't my fault. It was my mom's sickness taking over. A few weeks later, my mom came out of the hospital, but she wasn't well enough to fly to BC for my sister's wedding, which was the May long weekend. During this time, my mom's health went downhill. So when we got the call, we need to come home as soon as possible, I knew she wasn't going to make it. On May 25th, 2014, the doctors told us to say our goodbyes because my mom wasn't going to last the night. My mom died on May 26, 2014. This was a very hard time for me and my family grieved in different ways, so we kind of fell apart. I felt very alone at this point. I just wanted to get back to everyday life. So I did. I didn't give myself time to grieve. I started to get back into my destructive behaviors. Again, that didn't work, so I started to have suicidal thoughts because I just wanted to be with my mom in heaven. I finally reached out to Tina in February of 2015. She suggested I should get help, but I didn't think I needed it. I continued my destructive behaviors, but I couldn't handle it anymore. I was hurting so much due to past pain and grieving. It wasn't until April of 2015 I reached out to Tina again. She suggested to me that I should go to New Life. I told her I'd give it a try. I came to New Life on May 5th, 2015. At first I thought it'd be easy. I thought it'd be a breeze. I was so wrong. I got my support staff, Ashley, and she was gentle and patient. By the third month, it was time to get down to work. I began trusting and relying on Ashley, and I got super attached to her. So when she told me she was moving in December, I was mad at her and mad at God for making a move. I felt abandoned and rejected that she would leave me in the middle of my program. After Ashley left, I got a new support staff, and her name was Linda. Linda is a very kind and compassionate lady, and with God and Linda's help, I realized that I would be all right if people didn't choose me, that I was a chosen daughter of the King. New Life has been one of the most amazing yet hardest things I've done in my life. Through counseling this past year, we figured out that I had borderline personality disorder instead of bipolar type 2. And since being at New Life, I have realized that since my mom has died, I had very little faith in God would ever fix me. While I was out on my own, I tried to fix my life with medication and treatments. I was trying to do it without God's help. I finally discovered that's not possible. I would never reach the healing that I needed or the peace God wanted me to have. While I've been at New Life, I heard this song called Step Into Grace by Reinhardt, and some of the lyrics really spoke to me, and they are, come to grace, you don't have to run anymore. I know you're tired. Just come into my arms. I love you and I see you, and I love you today, and I always loved you, and I saw you. You are forgiven, released from your prison today. This part of the song just really spoke to me because I've been running from God as long as I can remember, and it is very tiring. But when hearing this, just come into my arms and that you're forgiven, I felt a real sense of peace that I have been longing for. In closing, I'm going to leave you guys with a quote I found comfort in. I'm not what happened to me, but I am who I choose to become. We all have a choice. We can live in our past and let it haunt us for our whole lives, or we can choose to let God help us overcome it and become the person He meant for us to be, and that is a daughter or son of the King.
This is my Father's world, and to my Maker I sing. I, the daughter and princess, God is ruler and my king. Father to the fatherless, we all can call him Daddy. He will never leave our side. Always with us, he'll abide. I will play a melody, knowing my Father he hears. He looks down, smiling at me. My sweet Abba sheds a tear. My heart will not be saddened, for my Father is with me. He loves me just as I am. Wrong notes, timing, tunes off key. This is my Papa's kingdom, and I long to bless his heart. Seems I've little to offer, but I bring what I have and start.
My name is Ellie, and I am an artist. Sounds a little weird to say it out loud. An artist? I'm not an artist, I'm a doodler, I swear. An artist is someone with training, someone with incredible talent. That is how I have said it the entire time we've done this production. But God showed me that I was wrong. I'm not a doodler, I am an artist. And it's a gift that He gave me, and a gift that I can use for His glory. When we were making this, I struggled with what I could bring to this presentation that was my own. All the girls have something that they have done, and I did have the spoken word, but it wasn't mine. I didn't create it. And then one of the girls suggested painting. I thought, painting? I don't paint. I can't paint. I'm not good enough to do that. I was wrong. God gave me an image to do for this presentation. One of the staff used to call us warrior princesses. Every time we prayed, she'd end with, and all the warrior princesses say, Amen. After a lot of frustrated thought and a huge amount of help from God, I came up with this image, the painting you may have seen throughout our presentation. I want to leave you with a print of this painting, so that every time you see it, you remember us and you pray for us, and all the other warrior princesses out there who are fighting a battle that they cannot win without Him. It doesn't matter what we struggle with. Self-worth, anxiety, depression. We don our full armor of God and we fight. We fight drug habits. We fight mental disorders. We fight eating disorders. We fight abuse. But you and I, we're not alone. We fight for the Lord, who is the light of the world and who hung the stars. Amen. We fight the whole glory of God at our backs. We are warrior princesses. We are daughters of the King. Amen.
This last song that we're going to sing for you is called Daughters of the King. It is written by my friend Kim Inch and myself, and the musical arrangements are done by Mike Francis. We are daughters of the King, cherished and so loved. He walks with us in everything we do. We lift our voices high to praise Him as we sing. We are daughters of the King. I've been wondering so long down the path of sin. Oh, but Jesus came searching for me. I thought I'd gone too far this time. Could He still love me? And with open arms He came and set me free. There was a time when I was young, I really didn't know that Jesus was more than just a name. Then He came into my life as my Savior and my King, filling me with joy that only He can bring. We are daughters of the King, cherished and so loved. He walks with us in everything we do. We lift our voices high to praise Him as we sing. I am a daughter of the King, God-fearing and steadfast in the love of Christ.
I am redeemed, loved, beautiful, worth far more than rubies.
I am more than makeup and clothes, free, worth it, and victorious.
I am joyful, transformed, dignified, and favored.
I am a daughter of the King.